Hello. How are you? Oh, yes, I've had a haircut. So, there's I'm not quite sure what we're going to talk about today. Well, I was going to tell you about a spicy camp story, but I don't really have any of those. I have one, but it's not that spicy. Yeah. But I do have a camp story which is pretty cool. Whether I tell you or not is another question. But there is something important that's happened today, which we'll find out the answer to tomorrow. But it affects us here in our tiny island. I wouldn't call it paradise, but here on our tiny island known as Great Britain. The American presidential election, which is huge, I suppose. It's all over the internet, Tumblr, Facebook, probably on Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter in ages, but if I had to vote, which I don't, because I'm not an American citizen and never have and probably never will live in America. But if I had to vote, I would probably vote for Barack. I'm not a Romney fan, He just seems like a not very nice bloke, I reckon that if he took over, then everything that we hold here is going to be great. But anyway, let's not impose my views on this. I am a Barack fan, and I can't cross my legs on my chair. These trousers are far too tight. Anyway, so that's basically what I would say. I reckon that if you haven't voted yet and you're in America, you're an idiot and you should probably vote. If you live in England, there is an opportunity to vote, but not for a president or a prime minister. I'm quite enjoying spinning on this chair and talking to you. The police commissioner vote's coming up. I'm going to vote. One of them's a Christian, I think. Or so I've been told. So I'm going to vote. So, I recommend vote because, we've been given the right to vote. And if you kind of just don't vote, then you can't moan about politics. In my opinion, that's just my view on it. I don't like talking about politics to you. I don't want this to be a political channel. Let's go away from politics. I currently am writing a new song. I know it wasn't long ago that I already finished writing a song, but I'm writing this new song. Would you like to hear the sounding sequence that I've got in it? I'll play it for you. No, I won't. Maybe you'll hear it another time. I just remembered I unplugged my keyboard just a second ago. Silly idiot. Camp story. Okay. Will, you'll probably watch this, as I'm probably going to put this on my Facebook. This story is about you and me and camp and superheroes. Okay, so this year I went to camp, but not as a camper, but as a leader, a young leader. Interesting experience, I had all the I had responsibility, but nothing too bad. Anyway, so I arrived there, and bearing in mind I know all of about 5 people at this camp, which was Carmen, Chris, Phil, Sammy, and I briefly met Taylor. That's it. 5 people. Bearing in mind there was about 60 people at this camp. I was looking at the notes that I'd been given beforehand, and on the notes there was a guy called Will, and I was paired with this guy called Will, and I'd never met the bloke. Anyway, we hit it off, and I could still to this day consider him a good friend of mine. And there's this really funny picture where we were told we had to create something from rubbish, and he was like, Jamie, we should create a suit jacket. So we did. We created me a suit jacket, and for all people who are my friends, you've probably already seen the picture. But yeah, so, and he was like, I should make a dress, and he wore a dress made out of netting, I think. It was beautiful, and oh, I proposed. It was amazing. But that wasn't the funny story. The funny story is, okay, it gets to about 10 o'clock. All the kids have gone to bed, and us leaders, we just had our meeting, and we were like, all bored, me and Will and Paddy, 6 people, Paddy as well. And we earlier in the day, Paddy had made me half a jug of tea because he made 2 cups, and one of the other guys done one of them. That's Chris. Chris, you'll probably see this video if you check it. And on this, you know, Will was like, "Where's my jug of tea?" And so, hence, Paddy made us 2 jugs of tea, but he issued us a challenge, an impossible challenge, a challenge which we knew we wouldn't complete, but there was a jug of tea involved. You know what I'm like about my tea. Anyway, Paddy makes 2-litre jugs of tea. The challenge was, we had to get a handful of marshmallows, small marshmallows, not big marshmallows, shove them in our mouths, and then drink 200 millilitres of tea. Sounds simple, except this tea was boiling hot, and marshmallows that, well, you know how a sponge expands in water? That's what this was like, and it was horrible. I ended up having to spit the marshmallows out somewhere. But alas, I still had a jug of tea, and yeah, the funny thing was, I can handle a jug of tea, and Will, as we discovered, you can't. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, that wasn't really an interesting story in all fairness. Might be, you might have found that really interesting. So I'm gonna probably go now because I need the toilet. I'm gonna put on this fez, and I'm going to say goodbye. Don't forget to vote on the 15th if you're old enough. If you're not old enough, then don't worry about it. If you are old enough, don't forget to vote. And oh yeah, the inspiration for this video was a Vlogbrother video. They do it is Brotherhood 2.0 week, and they're doing a video every day. I'll put a link to one of the videos, or the video where I got the idea for this camp story, in my trousers down here. Feel free to click on that. Steve, you've probably already watched it, knowing you. So now I'm going to take off this fez, put it on my camera, and when you see the red, you might as well click off because there's not much else going to be going on after that. So, laters!